Thank you. The gentlelady from Georgia, Ms. McBath.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for all of you that are here today. We really appreciate your testimony and your time. I am a devoted Christian, and I live very hard to walk out my faith every single day. Not that I do it perfectly, but I really try to abide by the precepts of my faith. My faith teaches me to love all people and to treat everyone equally. Never have I interpreted my religion as something used to discriminate against those who differ from me or my opinions. As my colleagues before me have pointed out, the Religious Freedom Restoration Act was not intended to be used as a means for discrimination to keep people from living the lives that they want, that they choose, as we have been witnessing recently. Whether that means having access to contraceptives, practicing their respective religion while at work, or taking in a child in need of a loving home. We should not be imparting our own life choices on everyone else. Ms. Lazar, my question is for you. I'd like to review the history of RFRA. Can you please explain for the committee why RFRA was passed and signed into law in 1993?
Sure. So RFRA was passed and signed into law in large part in reaction to the Employment Division v. Smith case. And in that case, the court changed the standard, the free exercise standard, around whether a generally applicable and neutral law could have a religious exemption if it burdened someone's religious practices. In that case, it was Native Americans in a peyote smoking ceremony and being denied unemployment benefits because of that. And a lot of folks were concerned on all sides of, the aisle, and came together, legal experts, civil liberties groups, religious groups, all sat at one big table and decided that we better make sure that we have religious freedom protections, in particular for religious minorities. So the kinds of things that came up during the debate were, what about a Jewish schoolboy who wants to wear his yarmulke to school? Or what about a Muslim firefighter who wants to grow a beard? And so those were the types of things that folks worried about. What folks weren't talking about and weren't worrying about was people being able to use religion to cause harm to other people and to discriminate against other people, people being able to impose their religion on other people. You can see those examples are very different from the types of examples that they were talking about. And that's why RFRA was able to pass with such a broad consensus. Unfortunately, though, that's not how it's played out. And that's not what we're seeing coming in spades from this administration. And so the Do No Harm Act would restore RFRA to that original intent, leave the balancing test in place, but make sure that it couldn't be misused for something that it wasn't originally intended to do, and that doesn't violate the Establishment Clause of our First Amendment. So it lays out some specific areas of the law where religious freedom doesn't get to trump protections that the society has given to different groups of vulnerable people. And child labor laws, workplace protection laws, civil rights protections, healthcare, government services, and government employees like Kim Davis, being able to discriminate in the doling out of government services. That's why it's such an important and critical fix.
Thank you. Sir, if I may, Chairman, one more question. Was there any indication at the time of RFRA's passage that RFRA would allow religion to undermine the rights of others?
No, and in fact, the coalition would have disintegrated if that would have been the case. It wouldn't have passed.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you. The gentleman from South Carolina, Mr. Timmons.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I'd like to thank all the witnesses for taking the time to come before the committee to testify. We keep talking a lot about discrimination, but I want to switch gears to talk about children. Children that, for whatever reason, are in need of foster care. Over the past few decades, Miracle Hill has provided foster care for thousands of children. And while there are hundreds of other similar organizations all over the country,